Hello, my name is Ethan, and welcome back to another episode of Path of Exile 2. As you can see, we're in queue. 1 hour, 39 minutes to go. But so yeah, that I wanted to actually do this though. This is the skill tree. Apparently that we're gonna be using, and so I want to have. So this is not a league starter because I think of league starters as my like fully cooked up like full plan with like the gems and everything. This is just the tree, and then I wanna go through it because I still think I can give some helpful advice for anyone new, and even especially just to give people a sort of like rough idea plan of what I'm gonna be doing, because I have an idea already looking at the tree of what I want to do. So hey, so we have the tree, and on this you get to select your class, and so I'm gonna select witch. And then so it shows you that there's 6 starts, and they call them Templar, Witch, Shadow. Oh, and I got the music from PoE 1, from PoE 2 still going. That's the new PoE 2 music. I kept it low though. So yeah, Shadow. Shadow is weird because I think that's like PoE 1, but it's like and then Templar. I think that's PoE 1, but this is PoE 2, and then it has Ranger and Duelist and Marauder. Okay, so Witch. Then you could select your Ascendancy, and it actually calls the third one DNT Troller. But we only have these two right now, Infernalist and Blood Mage. And so I am actually starting Witch, and then we'll worry about the Ascendancy after. But basically, I noticed so as a Witch, I think it'll give you the 8 minion damage. 8 minion damage. And then there's 2 things here, and I think the other one's Sork. So I think you get 10 minion life if you choose Witch. So we get to... and then it actually adds up the stuff on the side too. And then it has 2 specifications. There's like the Witch specific, and then there's normal. I'll show you after. But yeah, you could take all this, go down the middle. And I think this is different depending on which class you start. So it's the same pathing. As a Sork, but then it'll give you the elemental damage and stuff instead, the cold damage and whatnot. So this was my plan for the start. Imagine 73 minion damage, 20 minion life, and the 3 minion attacking cast speed. This sounds really nice to me. And with these points and a witch, and then we'd have all the witch stuff. So I'm thinking that it's more than just the tree where you like get the gems that are specific to you, maybe gear that's specific to you, the free there you get like free attributes from leveling as well, so that'll be really useful. And then like in some of these, I don't think we have the travel nodes in this beginning part, so you don't have to worry about picking the attributes yet. But here it says 5 to any attribute, and I think you have to choose the attribute, but when you choose it in this, it says 5 to any. So yeah, that's where it doesn't, we can't do the specifications yet. And then I'll show you this part. So this is where I want to start talking about the actual like choices you have, and where we can't fully know what the best tree is going to be, or like, especially because some of this stuff is new. So I just want to show you this though. For literally going this way, you could do 2 points and you get 10 minion life, and then there's this minions revive faster. So this wasn't a thing before. We didn't have minions reviving and then getting them to revive faster, and they revive automatically. And like, how long does it take for them to revive? But also, I'd say a real thing, why are your minions dying? That's the truth. So that you have them reviving faster with 15%, and you gain 2% when one of your minions is revived. So if you gain like 50 revives, you'd have 100% of your life. Whoa. How many minions do you have? Why are they dying? Okay, but anyways, if you go this way, so again, this is just like my idea for now. Obviously we don't know for sure because we haven't got in, but it's still, I think this is still more useful than going in completely blind, me giving some information to people. So then 10 more minion life. Look, 10 minion damage. Down here you can get 8. So Technically, we could take these two while we're going and delay this by 2, and you would get 16 minion damage and 2 points. But for now, I took the right side of the 10 minion life instead, because at least, well, we don't have any minion survivability really in the beginning. And you could see, like, I only had 30 even by this point. Now we have 50. This is where I was saying it specified which in the beginning tree, because you can be a witch or a sorceress in the same area. This is a double class start, and then it does different things depending on which class you are. And so this is the same though, like you would add this with this, it just delete this and it would be minion 50, and then this 10 add it with this. That's where I was like, it's kind of weird the way they did this page on PoE2. Anyways, so then I found, Relentless Fallen is a sick node, and technically we had Raw Power was really sick, and Path of Winter's really sick. I wonder if it's going to have a different name when it's the Minion node instead of the Cold node. It would make sense, like Path of Minion, for example. Then you have Relentless Fallen, 20 move speed and 8 cast speed, so you could see how we got 3 attacking cast speed in a node earlier with the 15 minion damage. So this is 8 attack and cast speed. It's quite a lot. And the 20 move speed, it's actually quite a lot. And now this is where we don't know for sure, but I'm pretty certain that, like, we have skeletons and zombies and stuff, and they should be attacking besides the mage ones that should do spells. So for the attack ones, you'd probably want accuracy, and I've noticed in these 3 points, so 30 and then another 25, this is 55 minion attack speed. This is like 2 jewel mods. This and the flat 150 early is going to be huge. So if there was an accuracy issue, this would like solve your accuracy. 55% increase and the 150, so it's this 150 is like 225 or more. And then that was just 3 points, and it seems really good. And then we have an extra 20 minion damage if we wanted as well. And you have 2 notables that close together. This is a really nice cluster, and that's where this cluster, this side, is mostly about the reviving. So I'm not sure if we actually need this or not, because they'll still be reviving without this. This is just faster, and I think, like, well, if you have more, you just don't have them die and you do more damage. And then this one is reducing recovery, so technically if they have no recovery, then this is just 40 minion life. So it's actually good, and you could take this out when you actually get recovery. That's another thing. So we could use this and then take this out, because I think you can respec with gold, and we should be getting gold, and early it should be cheaper to respec until later when you have more points. So you could probably, if I did this tree where I go to this side, then the recovery would have no downside this early on, and it would only be extra 40 minion life, which would be nice. Well, because my point, this is where I'm going with all this. So imagine you didn't do revive, because we don't even know if it's good yet, and then like your stuff still revives and you just do more damage and have more life. Anyways, my next part was you have to path all the way. I could do it all in one click, but I want to show you the pathing. So all of this up, and then right here we have minion life and chaos res. Minion life and chaos res, but the real node is vile mending. This node comes with 20 minion life in a single point, so just back here we had 10 per point, so having 20 is like, do this 2 point plus 3% regen. I'm used to the old shit having like 1 on a node, renewal 1, the like bunch of shit 1, 3. This is a crazy node, and minion chaos res. So I find vile mending really strong and probably should keep our minions alive. I've also noticed we have no leech. We have no leech mastery, so maybe they do have problems surviving. But yeah, I would take this off after I get the minion regen, because then they would be reducing the recovery and we just don't have the extra minion life. But then we got the extra minion life from this. And then the main other point was it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 points to get to vile mending. It's a lot of points, and we could put all those points into the Fear of Death and the Relentless Fallen to have all this extra damage and accuracy, and we would just be killing stuff, and our stuff still revives. We have the new revive mechanic even without investing in it, so then this should be what I started with, the strongest I could possibly be. Obviously, we won't have the recovery, the regen until this. We delayed it, but then I think it's actually stronger because we have all the actual like clear and damage, and we're gonna feel so strong. And if you were another class, you have quite a while before you get any minion nodes. The only other class that actually had minion nodes was this one, and it was like all the way out here. You could get some minion damage, but you still would go like a few levels without it. So yeah, Witch seems really nice for minions because you start with minion nodes and you have extra minion stats, and it'd be like the strongest the minions could possibly be in the beginning, and it looks really good. I'm actually really excited to play with this, and like I was saying, we could even take the extra 16 minion damage. You could not take this extra 20, so like this is 36 minion damage and 4 points, but it delays your regen by some points. And then we have this minion regen. And then it was also, like I said, it depends on you actually using minions that are attacking to need this minion accuracy. Because if you only use minion with spells, then they don't have to worry. So you don't need this extra. So you could save 3 points. But you would still you'd probably want this minion damage, attacking cast speed, and the move speed. This move speed's like some of the only move speed you get in the whole thing. And like this is a pretty solid start. And with these points, it's actually really sick. And now I'll point out the Ascendancy. So what the heck are we looking at? I also want to show you guys just a real quick thing that I thought was really cool about the tree. What does this look like? This looks like a claw to me. And then I read the note and it said Swift Claw, Tough Claw, Sharpened Claw. And I was like, oh my god, they actually designed the tree so it looks like things. So then I'll show you this one. They made a snowflake. And it's cold. Glaciation, blizzard, inescapable cold, chill to the bone, chill effect, cold pen. This is a minion node, and it looks crazy. You may not know what it looks like because it's upside down, but then so it's Lord of Horrors at the top, and then it's called the Left Hand of Darkness, the Right Hand of Darkness, and we have minion nodes, and so they actually put minion wither on the tree. You don't need an ascendancy for it. Like there's crazy stuff like reduced minion reservation. What? But okay, wait, first we have all this, and you go, what is all this? So it's the extra one. Here we have the elemental. Okay, here's the infernalist, and this is the blood mage. So how I was thinking of starting was you could get 12 minion life, and then you can get Loyal Hellhound. And so it summons an Infernal Hound, and 20% of damage from hits is taken from your Hellhound's life before you. And the number of Infernal Familiars allowed 1, and it's separate from your spirit. It doesn't cost spirit or anything, and it should be like auto-reviving, so you won't have to keep resummoning it, and it should burn stuff around you, and it sounds really cool. So you have an extra minion when you get your first Ascendancy, and you take 20% less from hits, which is huge, so one-shots. And then, so this is taking Infernalist. I'll probably be starting Witch with Infernalist. And then the first 2 points, I'll probably do the Loyal Hellhound, actually. So this reminds me of being Guardian Templar from PoE 1, except I didn't do it, and it wasn't auto-reviving. So this is actually pretty exciting. This is pretty cool. Looking forward to this. This is... let's see how strong it is. And then the... where I would go to is Altered Flesh, probably. Which then you would want to make sure you have your fire res and chaos resistance, because you're going to be taking the cold lightning as fire and the physical as chaos. And we can take the reserving some of our life and getting spirit to have more minions based on our max life. The one concern is doing too many of these and reserving too much, where you could get low-lifed and then get culled. Especially I think like expeditions in the game and whatnot. But yeah, anyways. Okay, so we won't worry about that yet though. We'll just worry about the beginning. that was the start with this, and technically you get some extra max life and some extra max life from the small points, and like this would help your survivability against cold lightning. And the physical damage, that's not from hits, so this is really crazy. This includes dots. And then the extra spirit sounds really sick too, and we could get extra energy shield or mana. And there's also way, like, you could do the mana and the ES. I'll show you something else. They had a new node. Well, it's old, but it's changed. Well, Eldritch Battery now converts all energy shield, to mana. So technically this node of giving you ES per 8 life is could be mana. And so this one was 6 and this is 8, so it's technically 33% worse than this one, but you could have 2 scaling into mana if you don't like ES. And they made this new Mind Over Matter is now all damage from mana before life, so you could really be a mana thing and like reserve your life and be low life. So I'm not really sure yet about all that. That's new stuff. We'll have to like see about all that, but there's some like scaling with your shit with going max life to get mana, to get Eldritch Battery, Mind Over Matter. And they made this Necromantic Talisman where all bonuses from an equipped amulet apply to your minions instead of you. Like, what amulets do we have? What mods? What can we do? Because it used to be equipped shield we'd give away, but now an amulet? So what does this mean? There's a lot of questions, a lot of things we can't know for certain until we get in, and it's a lot of, so that's why I say it's not really a full-on, it's not a league starter, it's not the guide, you can't, because there's so much we have to just try. But I still feel like this is useful for everyone to get into and to have some idea of what is going on. So then I pointed out how I probably will do my Ascendancy, and I think this is a pretty safe pick with the Infernal list, and I think Witch is like basically the safest start for minions, with having minion nodes available and like a lot of stuff available to us really early, especially the regen and the accuracy and the damage and whatnot. Okay, so then I will now type Minion. It is time. So I showed you the revive. There's technically some minion life and revive over here, but don't worry about it. And I told you we skipped some minion damage, so you could take the extra 16, you could take this extra 20. I think this 20 is good. The 16 is probably still good too. I'm probably gonna do it, but for the beginning, I just wanted to show you where we were going with it. And then yeah, this is where you have extra minion damage right here. And the minion fizz as chaos damage. So technically the skeleton should do physical and the zombie should do physical, so then they have extra chaos damage, and then we have more chaos res, and it seems like there's going to be chaos damage early if we're getting this minion chaos res available to us early, right? Okay. And then on this side it was crit and I didn't take it. So this is where, like, I still, especially, I think having my thing will be useful for people, because they'll be like, why not crit? Well, unless the minions have way more crit than they used to default, this isn't really worth it early. You just straight up minion damage and stuff is going to be worth more than scaling the crit, unless they have more crit, like multi and crit chance base. I don't think they would, so I was going without it. And then yeah, so I did, this is where there's a lot of like where we go with this. It's kind of dependent on how it all feels after, but I noticed that they had this new node where you have minions with increased evasion rating, so they just have evasion rating per level, base scaling on the minions, but you don't know how much they have. And then with new dexterity, and then you can have your dexterity added to your minions. So like, how good is that? It sounds good, but you'd have to have a lot of dex, and then like, are you taking dex nodes early? And would you really have that much right now? So that's where, do you really need that node? And so where I was actually thinking, there's this minion LE res up here, and there's this minion physical damage here, but I would start with this damage and the regen. You could take technically this and have recoup. This is a new node, so this is probably worth it. We don't know. we haven't had this. We had Leech before, so minions recoup 10% of damage taken as life, and it's from all damage, not just hits, so that's huge. And then physical damage reduction, it's huge because we didn't have any up to this point. We just had the minion chaos res. And then, yeah, up here, if you pathed up here, then you could get minion Ellie res, and it's all res plus max Ellie res, so they could have the max 78. And then they have the 2 8s. And then these smalls are extra flat of each one, but only 20. So you could see that this was 8, so this is 24%, but only 8 per all. So these are worse technically. So I just started with this wheel, and I went for this physical damage reduction because these smalls are just 20, the same thing. Technically the all gives more. Like 22 is crazy in a node, because this is like 66, and these are 20. Okay. And like I say, technically if we're already up here, then you could technically add the dex and go with the evasion rating. Like I was thinking this is probably pretty good, because if there's it also depends on if the enemy has a lot of attacks, which I would assume there would be, just default attacks, normal monsters attacking. So evasion rating on your minions is good, and having the extra dex isn't a bad thing. And we're already here, so it doesn't seem that bad. This is mostly my idea. And then this is just like continuing our pathing, and here we had crit, but I skipped it because I don't really see it need for it. And you have increased minion damage while you have at least 2 different active offerings, and I was like, is that good? Because then I also noticed, where was it? There was an offering node here that said offerings have increased max life, which made me realize that it's like a totem, so they have life, so you have to keep the offering alive now. It's not like it used to be. So I don't know what attributes we're gonna need to put yet, but apparently we'll also be able to switch the attributes pretty easily with gold, and you could just switch between them without having to respec the whole thing. I'm pretty sure you could just swap them at any time. So that should be fine, because I was seeing that we have the 65 to any attribute. And then, yeah, like I say, I skipped the crit because I don't think they should have crazy base crit, and then it's not that effective early, unless they had tons of base crit and base crit chance. Anyways, next. So this one is dependent on like how crazy the spirit reservation is, but this should just be 12% more minions is a way I thought of it. If we have none of this reduced reservation, then it's reserving spirit, then this should just give us 12% extra when we don't have any others. So that seems really good. But I also saw down here that this was minion Ellie res, all minion Ellie res with max res, and we get attack and cast speed, and you could take an extra 3. And then down here we technically have minions revive 25% faster, but like I said, why are our minions dying? Maybe we could keep them alive, and then these revive nodes are completely useless and they wouldn't be doing anything. So I'm just not worried about them yet. And then this was my main thing from here. You could get the attack and cast speed and the minion Ellie res and the max res, so we could take them up from the 78 to the 83. And then if you take these nodes, so tons of minion life, then you could get a minion AoE node and a minion cooldown recovery rate node. But I don't know if we have AoE yet. Like, what if none of the minions do anything AoE? So does this do anything? And like, do they have abilities to have cooldowns? We'll have to find out. And then you could take some extra minion damage if you do this. So for now, I don't know if that's any good. But if we do need the AoE or want the AoE and the cooldown, then technically we could get the extra minion life and the minion damage. This sounds good, except for the revive. And then you could come up here. You can grab 12 minion damage. Oh, but you should actually path from this side, because it's quicker, because you want to go this way. And this is 3, and this is only 2, so then, yeah, 12 minion damage, 12 minion damage. We have the extra Ellie res, which that's a good node. The extra minion damage, these are good, because 12, like, if you didn't want these 12, then you would take away these 10 or the 8s first. This whole cluster is just insane. And then we have AoE, so this is where I said if we don't have anything AoE, this won't do anything. And what if we're not doing any chaos damage? Because the only chaos damage that I know of is if we have physical, and then we get 8% chaos damage. So it would be Wither of this, and then do we have enough minions and attack speed and cast speed to get enough hits to get the Wither stacking? And do we even have chaos damage? It's a lot of questions, but if we have AoE, then here's some solid AoE and some Wither for our chaos damage. If we, it's probably that we could do chaos damage and then buff up the chaos with the Wither from the minions, but I'm not sure that I want to do that. But for sure, 12% reservation, we get more minions, and we have all this damage, and we have the minion physical damage reduction, and all this minion life. It's 12, so it's pretty good. Like I was saying, this was only 10, so this whole thing is really strong. And then the minion physical damage reduction from here, and here. Then we had the all res. This was just good too. Like I said, it's more than if you took one of these 20s. And you actually could build so much minion Ellie res if you took all of it on the tree, all these flats and all and all the minion physical damage reduction and all the chaos res. It's a lot actually. We don't have that much of the regen or this recoup. That's where these are like very important nodes of actual recovery. And that's where if they are dying, then technically the revive does something, but they revive even without the faster. So that's, yeah. And then when they're alive, because we have stuff into minion stats, then they're doing more damage, they're having more life, they're, being more effective, hopefully. And now... this node was crazy too. So we had 10, 10, and this one was like kind of funny because of what we used to have, but a 20 minion Ellie res node again. So we had 22 over here and then a 20 here. We have another 20, and then here's 25 life and 25 damage. So it's like a lot. And then, yeah, you had this ring where it had extra minion physical damage reduction, extra minion chaos res. So this is where I was showing like, technically, you could get so much minion chaos res. I'm not sure that you even need all this, because it ends up being like 77, and I don't normally need the 10% or this 15% of life as extra ES, so you may not come all the way over here. It depends on if we need this minion chaos res or not. Probably not though, and that's where we actually get to skip a lot of stuff. And like giving some input into what we're actually doing kind of like should help people. And that's the accuracy should matter, and the res and all these stats should matter, and the way I did it of like skipping certain stuff because of how it's just not as much as other things. But where we could, in the beginning, you could start with the 8% minion damages just for extra damage. It delays stuff, but it's pretty good. And like where I did this pathing to show you how you save the points, it's really nice. And how you have some priorities of like skipping certain things. And yeah, I like the beginning of what we have available to us. It should make the minions feel really strong if they're like kind of okay even without this. This is going to be a huge boost. And yeah, we could also get all this AoE depending on which minions we actually have, because like I said, this doesn't include the gems and all of our skills and all like the minion stats and stuff. So you got to take it with a grain of salt. You can't really know for sure, but we'd probably have AoE, and then you'd probably be taking this and this for the extra AoE and the cooldown recovery, and then the extra minion damage, because why not? And by that point you could take some of this extra revive stuff. But yeah, this what I would do mostly. These are my plans, my rough plan, my rough start. It looks actually pretty solid. It looks like we're gonna do pretty good. Like I was saying, imagine if you started something else like a ranger minion. You have no minion nodes. This looks crazy compared to that, like how it would take you forever just to get to even close to a minion node. Here you only have this. Down here your first minion node's all the way down here and all the way down here, and it's no regen, no recoup. So this gives them basically their best chance of survival. And then for me to also go through the Ascendancy, where I tell you Infernal List, and I'm doing the Hellhound probably into Altered Flesh, into the extra Spirit, and then I pointed out how it would probably be mana for me because I generally don't care for the ES unless I was CI or you had like a Shavs, I guess. But I don't really like Shavs. So then, is Shavs even a thing in PoE 2? And then I don't know about the culling. I don't know if low life's even a thing. Like, what if Expedition just kills you because you're low life because you reserved your life? Like, that would kind of suck, right? And then, like I say, this mind over matter with the mana and the ES and then the Ascendancy actually might end up being really cool with the Eldritch Battery, but I don't know yet. So yeah. And can you reserve life with CI? Normally, I don't think you could, because we had those scepters where you could reserve life to have like... It was like 30% of your life to have an extra zombie, summon raging spirit, extra skelly, extra specter, all this stuff. And you could use like 2 of them, but it said on it that you couldn't use it with CI. So like, would these be like that? Or like, what happens if you try to reserve and have 1? Does it actually let you? Which would be kind of crazy. Especially for it to then be based on max life, but you're not even... it'd probably be bad because you set your max life to 1. So you wouldn't get any spirit or mana. Never mind, this wouldn't work. Yeah, this doesn't work. So you'd actually have to be building life to be able to get... Yeah. So then you have to have something, like, with a mana so that it doesn't bypass the life. That's where this mana thing is completely different. We didn't really have this. This is like that chest plate, having the mind over matter, having it be all the damage. Ivory Tower, it's kind of like the Shavs, but yeah, because chaos damage could bypass energy shield, but not mana like this. So yeah, we'll see. This is really interesting, but these are my plans for now, and I guess I would start it like this. Just start with this for now, and show this tree, and then people can follow the video for this. But thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. These are my plans for now. Like I said, it's a rough plan, so probably things will change. And it wasn't the best, but it was what my first instincts were based on what we saw. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. I hope you guys have a good league start too. PoE 2. Holy shit, I'm ready. Let's go, dude.